Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the video, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, I did finish the week with 12 wins and 4 losses for a win rate of 75%. Not that great of a week. Just got caught in a couple, what do you want to call it? Traps, fake outs, whatever. Two of them. I had a bad day. I think it was Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday we had a choppy morning and I got caught on the morning fake out, which back months ago I used to avoid the first 30 minutes because of that crack, because that happened every single morning, like clockwork. We could literally count the 2 fake outs before the move actually happened. It was so predictable back then, but at first it wasn't. It was trap after trap. Then after taking a couple losses almost every morning at that particular time, the first 30 minutes, I just sat it out. And then it stopped. Then I went back to my ORB, which is the open range breakout or breakdown. They're on the first 10-minute candle. Went back to that strategy, which has been working out very, very well for a long time. It's just a couple months where it wasn't. The market is always changing. It's always evolving. What works today may not work tomorrow. That's why you need to always make mental notes when things change and things happen. Like right now, I've been not trading the last half an hour because I usually love the last end of the day plays. They just haven't been movers. They've been getting pinned so much. So I've just been like, I'm stopping at 3:30. You just got to make these mental notes when these things happen, because they happen a lot and they do change. So you just got to, like I keep saying, make mental notes of what's changing, what's working, what's not working. May not be the pattern, maybe the time of day, and maybe various other things. We just always got to be aware of what's going on. So with that said out of the way, Monday the 26th, which is traded days room, I said SPY calls over 434, which is rate 434 is up here. I picked it up here for some reason. I think it was when I was putting out the trade ideas in the morning. It was already around 433, and I didn't want to put 433.25 or 50 because it's right there. So 434 was definitely a better level to go off from, because also you can see 434 over here has been an area of from the previous day to watch. Another thing that's been happening a lot lately is another reason why you need to make mental notes is that SPY VIX hasn't done squat. It's been sitting in the $13-14 range, especially when SPY has already dropped $10 and VIX is still in the 13 range. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. So one of the things SPY VIX has been doing is when it gaps up in the morning, it sells off. It's been like short the pops for VIX right now. I don't know why. There's so much going on in the world with actually the France riot thing has just been happening the last few days, but before that you get the war with Ukraine. The market doesn't care about anymore. You get all kinds of things with Biden. You get the economic numbers that are the economy is saying it's strong, but everybody knows it's not strong. It's all bullshit. So there's a lot going on. The VIX should not be under 13 or even at 13. VIX should be right around 15 or 16 or even 20, but it's just keeping it down. VIX is measured by volatility. When the candles are small, VIX is not going to really go anywhere. So with that said, they're just, in my opinion, I think that they just ran up SPY this week because of the 4th of July. If you look over the history, 4th of July has had a strong green week. If you don't have a green market going to the 4th of July weekend or 4th of July, it's kind of un-American, I guess you could say. So having a strong market, strong green candle going into 4th of July is something definitely to keep an eye on. And then after the 4th of July, I think we're going to dump. I don't care about that. We're not going to talk about that right now. We'll cover that on the watch list. But yeah, gaps up, sells off. Right here, gapped up, sells off. Gapped up, sold off. And you know, it's just that's been the trend. It's been doing for VIX. It gapped up and it pushed a little more, then it sold off. Gapped up, sold off. This is just gapped up. It popped a little bit, then it sold off the rest of the day. Next 2 days, gapped up. It actually stayed, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, that's been the thing that's been going on with VIX right here. It gapped up. It did sell off a little bit, but it did not break below previous pre-market lower day. So this is what has been happening with VIX. So that's why I'm pointing it out. And when VIX gapped up over here on Friday and Monday, that's why I was looking at calls because of that. So I took calls at 9:40. I waited for the first 2-minute candle to form. Once it formed, I took calls. I took the 43.55 calls at 7:80, and then went from 7:80 to 11:40. So that ended up being a nice play. Then I took puts at 10:41, which was right here. No, right here. Got this big nasty red candle. I don't know why I didn't grab it right here. I just didn't. It must have been news or something. I don't think this was the day Powell was speaking. I don't think so. That was Wednesday. But we had this nasty red candle, and when it got to lower day, I think I grabbed it right down here at the 44.3250 area. I grabbed the we grabbed the 43.55, the 43.45 puts at 8.50, and they went from 8.50 to $10. So yeah, I grabbed it down here because they only went from 8.50 to $10. They only went $1.50, so I caught the tail end of the move. So then I grabbed calls at 234, which is right 234 right here. Yeah, right here. I went up to VWAP, rejected, harsh rejection right there. I could have taken puts. I probably did in my challenge account or IRA. I don't remember. Then it got bought a little bit. We made new lower day. Then it got bought and it came up to the 20 EMA and got rejected. Failed to break lower day right here. And actually double bottomed right around there. Well, not double bottoms right down here, but it came back down to this 431.85 area. Then it bounced, so wasn't making new lower day. If anything, it made a higher low. So when it broke over this 432.50, that's where I grabbed the calls. Grabbed the 43.40 calls at 450. And they went from 450 to 660 in that little push right there, rejecting VWAP. So got a nice little move out of that. Now, it was chopping under VWAP after making a higher low, and it had a strong push. It was bouncing around, trying to get over VWAP, getting rejected. Whatever SPY chops under VWAP, usually you get a strong push through it. And if it chops, if it pops and chops over it, it usually flushes through it. So yeah, because if this was made a nice run to VWAP and it chopped here and there, I grabbed calls right at 332, which is right here, right at this candle. Right when it got ready to break over the 432.85, that's where I grabbed it. I grabbed the 43.40 calls at 5:30. I didn't grab that many, being towards the end of the day. I don't like playing at the end of the day, so I didn't grab it that much. And right after I grabbed it, it got slammed. And it just, I did not like that. Usually, this has been one of those things in the past. It's always done really well for like several months. That when it's chopping under VWAP after it's had a nice little push, that it will pop through, and it just didn't. So I mean, where was it? Closed right here. So yeah, it closed right at the, we'll say 433.59 area is where it was. So I was thinking, okay, if we get over VWAP, we're going to close green. So that was my mentality behind this. SPY loves to close green. When we get to the end of the day and it's down, you just see these pushes where it just likes to miraculously like to turn green right at the end of the day. And open interest, I don't follow open interest that much because it's all garbage. It's misdirection. You don't really know what the position is, and you're gonna give yourself a headache watching open interest. But one of the things I just do like pointing out about the open interest though is whenever you see a lot of calls on open interest, it does not mean that's the wall. They have been getting paid for months and months and months. High open interest on the call side has been getting paid. High open interest on the put side has not. Can it get paid? Yeah, it can absolutely get paid. But I've noticed just in the last few months, the call side always seems to manage to get paid. We used to use open interest as a guide where they would try to screw over the most open interest, but probably because, you know, all the big shots, all the hedge funds and Pelosi and Powell and all these other people that have a huge interest in the market going up, they end up getting paid and they're fattening their wallets. So I doubt it's retail. So they tend to try to screw retail than they were their politician friends or the market makers or the hedge funds and stuff like that. So they want to take retail's money. So that's why you just open interest I used to use as a guide that, you know, if it's high open interest, they're not going to get paid, but that does not work anymore for now. So we'll just make a mental note of that. Like I said, write down all these little mental notes because they do end up panning out eventually. So let's see, Tuesday the 27th, I said trading days room. SPY calls over 433. VIX really didn't gap up that much. It stayed elevated. That's what they say. SPY puts... No, SPY calls over 433, which is right here, which is this area where it was chopping and pre-market high a day. It broke it on the first 10-minute candle. Didn't touch it. In fact, I grabbed puts right at 948 right here because it had this big green candle. Then it came back down really, really quickly to the lower day. I grabbed the 43.40 puts at $8. And it bounced up a little bit. Then it finally came back down. Almost thought it was going to get stopped out, but it stayed inside candles. But it ate a bunch of theta off. But once it broke lower day, I got a little bit of a move on it. But I went from $8 to $10.70, so that ended up being a pretty big play. So now let's see. I grabbed puts again. Let's see what was it doing here. Let's see. It was chopping right in here. 11. Let me just blow this up right in here. Yeah, 11. Yeah, VIX was way too low. VIX was already under 14. Right around was right around 1350. Right around here. So I did not feel comfortable buying calls. I mean, that was definitely a call setup right there, but VIX was way too low. And I just did not feel comfortable. Yeah, if you see it and you want to take it, I don't care. Go ahead and take it. I'm not going to. I'm not going to trade because you want me to. I'm going to trade because I like it, and I'm not going to deviate from that. If I don't like what's going on, I'm not going to touch it. I haven't been able to trade that much lately because the VIX has been so low. I don't trust the call side unless VIX pops up. Then I am a little more optimistic about it, but right around here, VIX is under 1350, right around 1350. I am not touching calls at 1350. Then it takes off. And I just sat and waited and waited and waited. Then I did take puts finally at 240, which I think is right here in the 436.50 area. Is there a reason why I took it right there? 436.50. Was it this day? The 27th? Not right there. I don't think. I'm trying to look out here for the hourly. Yeah, so you can see right here. You get a lot of resistance right in here. Right at the 36.50 area. You can see right here. Right in here. It was went through it, came back as support, then it flushed through it. So yeah, this 436.50 area has got some I'll look at it on the hourly. It's got a little bit of resistance in here. 46.50 right there. Yeah, I can see right here. You can see it went through right there. Support, and resistance right here. So yeah, that 436.50 area is a pretty significant area. And VIX was just chopping around at that day, which is right here. And VIX was just chopping around Right in this area. What time was that? The 240. It was right here. Yeah, right here. It was basing on the VIX. So I decided to take the risk that 436.50 was going to get rejected. You get these two candles right here. I think I grabbed it right here, right when it broke below these two candles at 436.35. That's where I grabbed it. Grabbed the 43.80 puts at 450, and they went from 450 to 510. Not much of a move. Then it just stayed elevated and did nothing into close. Whenever a SPY has these big moves like this, it always manages to pin near higher day. I don't know why. It just seems to do that. So this is the day, Thursday. Wednesday I had a little bit of an issue. Trade ideas room on Wednesday. SPY puts under 434. Let's see. 28. It gapped up right there, but it was still under 14. So this was so much easier because it was actually over 14, but right here it's still under 14. I don't like that. I don't like VIX being this low because I know a massive rug pull is coming. Everyone's too bullish. No one's hedging. No one's got puts. Everyone's in calls. There's so much greed. There's so much happening in the world that the market shouldn't be up where it is. And there is going to be a massive rug pull, and I just did not want to be in calls when it did. I do not like it down here. So I was looking at what they say puts. I had the first candle right here was red. It popped up here when it broke over this 435.20 area. I grabbed calls. I went right against what I was thinking right off the bat. I grabbed 43.70 calls at 7:30. It popped up. It dropped right down here. It popped up. Yeah, when it popped up, I ended up selling, and I switched sides. Yeah, this was just a huge mess. We have to look at the actual timestamps because they're blended together. 46 and 41. Okay, let's bring this down to a smaller time frame so we can actually see. I don't use the 1 minute ever. I'm just doing it so you guys can see. 941 right here. This is where I grabbed it. The 43.40 calls at 7:30. It tried to pop up and it just dumped, and I stopped out at $5 and I switched sides. I grabbed the 436.60 right at the right here when it broke lower day. I grabbed the 43.60 puts at $7, and I just stayed in it. And I just had the mentality was, which day was it? The 28th. Right here. My mentality was that I was just going to stay on one side. I wasn't going to go calls, get stopped, I'll go puts, get stopped, I'll go calls, get stopped, I'll go puts. Because you could get stopped out like 2 or 3 times in this area. 3 or 4 times actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you could have got stopped out 4 times easily in this area. And when I grabbed calls, I stopped out thinking, okay, we're going to finally dump, especially after this big run up and VIX being really, really, really low. I used the mentality that VIX was really low. We had a big run up and that something's going to actually end up happening, and it doesn't. So I ended up averaging down at 11.12, which is right here. I should have just stopped out, but I didn't. It popped. I thought it was going to fake out. Then when it came up here, I was like, okay, I'll average down right here at the 435.85. I added more at 170, maybe when it averaged 250. I think I sold some, and then I just ended up averaging more on what I had left, and that's what I did. I ended up taking a loss on that and dumped them at 1, and it just kept going. So it was like whatever. But I did switch to calls at 12.31, which is right. 12.31 right here, yeah, right here when it got to the 20 EMA. I didn't get much out of it. Let me just bring it down to a smaller time frame again. It's hard to see when the candles are so large. Okay, let's see. 12.31, which is right here, right in here. Yeah, right when it got down to the 20 EMA, the 20 EMA was at the blue line on the 10 minute. So I grabbed the 43.80 calls at 550. It bounced a little bit, as you can see right here. I grabbed it and it bounced a little bit, so I was able to get almost $1 out of it. Very, very risky doing that. I'm glad I grabbed it because it dumped more. Then I ended up grabbing calls at 12.54. Let me go back to the 10 minute because I do not look at the 1 minute. I was just doing that for you guys. 12.54, which is right down here, right underneath the 435 area. I grabbed calls, assuming that SPY was going to catch lower day or get bought right under the 435 area. SPY, the drop's been getting bought. So, yeah, as you can see right here, 20 EMA right there. And that's where I got the 43.80 calls right there. You can see it right there. Then when it got below 435, I grabbed the 43.70 calls at 420, and they went from 420 to 870. So I got 100% move out of that. Lower day got bought. I probably should have grabbed calls again right there, but I didn't. I was kind of worried because we made a lower high, but I grabbed calls again at 244, which is right here. I probably should not have done that. I grabbed it right here. I grabbed the 43.70 calls right here at 670. Then I dumped it at 2. I probably should have waited and held it and added at lower day, but there was a couple things I was worried about. Well, I mean, quite a few things. One, VIX low. Was this day 28th? VIX is low, but what's the time on that? 244. Right here. VIX is at low under 1350. I probably should have never grabbed calls, but VIX, I mean, and SPY also made a lower high. You get the high here and a high here. It made a lower high. And I grabbed calls here, thinking I flushed through the calls. It was going to come back up, but I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited. I don't know why I did that. No, it looks like I grabbed it in this candle, not this candle. I grabbed it in this candle. So I can kind of see it dropped down. It came back up quickly over the 435.80 area, 85 area. So that's, I can see why I grabbed it there. But I stopped out at 670 and I stopped out at 2. I probably could have averaged down, but like I said, I was worried about the VIX being too low under 1350 at the time. SPY making a lower high. You got a head and shoulders. You get the left, you get the head and the right shoulder. And I was like, okay, this thing is going to just dump. And I don't want to average down. So I ended up stopping out. And then it just ripped in the day and it ended up going green. Kind of a... took 3 losses that day. I should have just called out after I was 2-2. But... I thought for sure I was going to get a nice win right there, but yeah, 3 losses in one day. That's terrible. I usually cut it after 2 in a day. I rarely get 2 losses in a day. And yeah, I definitely could have done better. I mean, that was just, shit just happens. I mean, that I could have avoided. I don't know, Wednesday, I could have done it better on Wednesday. It is what it is. I got trapped here and there, so no big deal. Thursday, the 29th, traded his room. SPY calls over 436.50. Gapped up. Here is the gap up. 436.60. What did I say? 436.50, which is right here, right in here. You can see with support right here. So I was using that kind of an area, but I rounded up right in here. I rounded up. I don't like calling pre-market. I don't like calling 436.65. I only do that when there's a tight consolidation of candles, like right here. You can see it drop. You see the body, and you can see the wicks going through. And you just get everything lined up like 437.45 area. This is where I call exact number because that's where it's appropriate. But in the very, very beginning of the market, it's just so much volatility. I just round up to the nearest 50 cents or nearest dollar, and I just go from there. So, I mean, that's just the way I do things pre-market. First 10-minute candle, green, super green. I did not like that. I did not like that we had the first 10-minute candle was almost a $2 candle. I don't like that at all. So I waited. We get the second candle was red, and the third candle right here, right when I got over the 436.90 area, that's where I grabbed calls. I grabbed the 43.90 calls at $7. It dropped, and then it popped, and it went from 7 to 8.30. So that was another one of these things, just like the opening day. The first 30 minutes, it's just so choppy again for some reason. Stopping people out. Wouldn't have got me. Yeah, I guess I could have got you right there, but I had the mentality that VIX gapped up. It was going to sell off, and it did. So ended up working out. Then I took calls again at 10:23, which is right here. No, not 10:23. Right here. Right here, as you can see, it got sold the first pop right here, and then dropped down. Then when it came back up to this 436.80 area, 85 area again, I grabbed the calls. I grabbed the 43.90 calls at 570 this time, and got a better move. And went from 570 to 860 because they just had a better move this time because I actually caught the breakout and it ripped right away. See, this time when I grabbed it here, it dropped some, then it popped up. So the premium already got destroyed a little bit, and then it finally popped more. So even though it popped more here, the premium was a lot less, was because it dropped here and Theta decided to eat it just in that 20 minutes right there. So, and versus this case where I actually caught the breakout and it popped. So ended up paying out a lot better, almost $3 right there. So that actually worked out pretty good. Then I grabbed calls again at 209. Didn't touch it here. 209, which is rate 209 right here. No, 209. I caught it right down here, right around the 436.40 area. I think I grabbed it right around in here. Not quite sure where I grabbed it. 209. Well, we can hone it in and see where it was. 209. 209. Right here. Right here. So yeah, right around the 436.60 area. 436.60 area. So yeah, I caught it right down here. Right around here, right around the 200 EMA, which is this purple line. And I haven't been really paying attention to the 200 EMA. They don't really respect it as much as they used to. I used to be such a strong trader with the EMAs, like using it as resistance and support, and they would really react to it very well, but they don't do that as much anymore. And it's just probably a fad where it's not working now. It could end up working again, but it held a 200 EMA and it popped off that. So I grabbed the 43.80 calls at 570, and they went from 570 to 1080 on that. So it ended up being a good play. 3 wins, definitely a better day than Wednesday. So I was definitely happy about that. Friday, I didn't play much of it. I just didn't like the action. Friday trade ideas room. I said SPY puts under 441, which is down here. I don't like that it was raging up. What did I say? SPY puts under 441. Down here. Yeah, I guess I can see. I probably called it up here. So yeah, I use this area right here. And first candle was red. Let's see, VIX gapped up. This kind of sold off pre-market, then it popped at the market open. So I did not like that. This was one of those days which was VIX was very sketchy. VIX was actually running with SPY at open. I did not like that. I did not like that at all. First trade I took at 11:31, which is right here. Popped up. Then you can see right here, I tried to make new high a day, didn't. It made a new lower high. When it made that lower high, I grabbed puts. I needed the 442.20. I grabbed the 44.35 puts at $6, and they went from $6 to $7.40, and that little drop right there. And the blue line is the 20 EMA. It did hold that. Now, another thing I want to mention about the 20 EMA, I not only do I use it for support and resistance, I also use it as a guideline where if it's having a parabolic move, like a parabolic move right here, the price gets too far away from it, it does one of two things. It either chops to bring it up, or it drops to retest it. You rarely see SPY just get really, really disconnected from the 20 EMA. Eventually, it will catch up. And there's only two ways for it to do that. Right here, it chopped and brought it up to it, but it did drop a little bit. But yeah, it chopped to get it caught up. And so that's what I was looking at on that day, back that particular day. I think it was Wednesday or whatever. But right here, we caught this put play. It ended up holding the 20 EMA. I just wanted to throw that out there about that third way I look at the EMAs. It's only the 20. The 200 is too slow. 20 is better. It shows more extreme disconnect. So it did hold the 20 EMA and it popped. Now I did grab calls this time at 315. 315. Why did I grab calls here? 315 right here. 315 right here. Oh, I see why. Because VIX already dropped quite a bit. No, I didn't. Well, let's see. What day am I on? The 30th. Okay. Yeah. I got the whole thing wrong. Yeah, right here. I got the whole VIX wrong. Yeah, this is Friday, the VIX. It was running up right here. Right here. And this is why I didn't want to take calls. Right here. Look at VIX. VIX was getting destroyed. I'm sorry that I said this was the day it was running. But technically, it was running right here. And that's why I went with puts. But I went with puts because it was running here with SPY. I did not like that. That's why I didn't want to touch anything. And when I took SPY right here at 1140, where's 1140? VIX was down here at right at 13. Right at 13. That's why I grabbed puts. And I was not taking calls right here. I saw the breakout, held the 20 EMA, and this is a bullish type pattern. But what kind of made me not want to grab it is VIX. You get a bullish pattern right here. It's 1230. 1230. And VIX is down here at 13. I am not buying calls on a bullish pattern when VIX is at 13. No, thank you. You can. I am not. I'm in this to win this. I'm in this to get good plays. I'm not in here to gamble. I'm not gambling. I don't gamble with my money. I hold my money very, very close, and I only trade the things I actually like and have the highest probability of a good trade and a good win. And right here, to me, that was way too much risk. VIX under 13, SPY breaking out, no part of that. You want to take a go for it. I am not. Now, what changed my mind to grab puts at 315 right up here, I grabbed the puts at when it broke 444. I grabbed the 43.55 calls at 460, and then went from 460 to 520. So it got a little bit of a play, not much. It tried to break out, then it got slapped in the day, but I called it in. I wasn't touching the end of the day. Last 30 minutes, I don't touch. But why I grabbed it here versus here was this reason only. VIX was at 13 here when it broke out here, not touching it. When I brought the 315 area, VIX is up here, right here. VIX has already had a nice little pop. It's still very, very low at 1325, but it's definitely going in the 4th of July weekend. Market's going to stay nice and green. So I was not a bit surprised if they pushed it more right here. Now after VIX popped. Now if VIX was still at 13 and it was dropping more, I would have never taken this. But because VIX popped right here, I took it. I took it thinking we're going to have a strong end of the day push for a big 4th of July rally. End the week strong, end the quarter strong, end the month strong. And it dumped right there. But it still had a strong green candle. But anyways, it was less risky up here to take calls than it was down here. Still risky, but just not as much risk. Plus, like I said, VIX had popped. SPY's at the higher day, going to 4th of July weekend, end of the quarter, end of the month. This is where you can see one of these end of the day dollar pops on shenanigans like that. So that's why I took it. So I know I probably rambled a lot and got off track, but whatever. It is what it is, unedited. I hope that you learned the mindset, why I did what I did. VIX is getting very, very dangerously low, and I just a lot of my trading the last couple weeks has been basically because VIX has been too low. I don't like VIX down here. If VIX was 15 to 20, I'd be more willing to go long or short. But VIX down here at 13, I don't like it. You could end up seeing a $2 drop in a flash, so our headline pop. And every time VIX gets really low, there's always this miraculous headline that comes out of nowhere that dumps the market 4 or 5 points or even a $10 day. We're going to have it. The question is, what will the headline be? Could be France. Who knows? Could be anything. But with that said, that's it for the recap. I hope this has helped, and thanks for watching.